All right, hey, well, sorry for the delay here. We had our internet for the second time in a row went down at my house. Third time, sorry, Sean is correcting me, that's right. After spending a ton of money getting everything so it would be totally perfect. And so 45 minutes before the show, Sean is pulling his hair out going, we got like 5 megabytes of upload, which we can't run the show on. So he actually figured out a way. My office has very good upload speed. So we literally picked up everything in the studio that was the minimal that we could do to get the show on. And we have now moved it into my office where I actually have upload speed. That's why you don't see the nice yo-yo back. I have a very special show for you tonight. As you know, we are going to be announcing the 3 inductees for the 2021 National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. So we're really excited about that. And I will say in the background, if you see the camera moving or jiggling a little bit, Sean is still setting up the studio for this. I was going Beth Dutton on him. If you don't know who Beth Dutton is, then you haven't watched Yellowstone, and you really need to be watching if you want some highfalutin class type of programming to see. So anyway, as I was saying, not only are we announcing who the 3 inductees for the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame, but Andre Boulay is going to be on the show, and we're going to have a little interview with Andre. As you know, he is a legend in the yo-yo community as the backbone of yoyoexpert.com and has probably received more video views than anybody in the yo-yo world. So Andre, I believe, is in our green room. I hope he is. I got too frustrated. We're getting him there. We're getting him in the green room now. So that is going to come later in the show. So something to live for. And keep going. So anyway, I'm going to, last week we didn't have anybody answer any questions on the YouTube. So if you're a YouTube follower, there was no reason to run the randomizer this week, which is really sad. So nobody takes home that prize. This week, I was too lazy. I didn't get together the grand prize. So we are going to have a trivia contest near the end of the show, but it will just be for the trivia champion t-shirt. And that you can only win if you have not won a trivia champion contest in the past. So that we will still have our trivia contest. Sean is still arranging some stuff here. I'm going to let him move something. Yeah, but that's fine. I can work with that. So, before we get to the announcing of the inductees into the Hall of Fame, I want to talk a little bit about yo-yo since it's yo-yo talk. And I want to show you a yo-yo that is on my covet list. So if any of you guys or gals out there happen to have a duplicate of one of these in your collection, just be aware, I would love to trade for this yo-yo. Can you show that little video there, Sean?
Which one?
It's the Jaws yo-yo.
Of course.
All right. So this is from Universal Studios, not from the one here in Orlando, but the one in Japan. I don't care. I still have a special memory. I won't call it a fond memory of the movie. I'll just call it a PTSD. I clearly remember watching Jaws in 1973, and I distinctly remember afterwards not wanting to swim over in the deep end of the swimming pool during swim practice because I was pretty much freaked out, even though there was very little chance of somebody slipping in a great white shark into the Arlington Country Club swimming pool in Richmond, Kentucky. But you can never be too careful. Now, if you've ever been to my house, many of you have, you will remember that I live literally right next to Universal Studios, And when they built that Jaws ride at the studios, all the speakers from the ride were aimed directly at my house. So about every 2 minutes, there would be a giant roar and an explosion where the shark was blowing up from the propane tank that was in its mouth. And this would rattle my windows. It was so loud the first time I heard it, I went out to my closet and got my BB gun. It was very apparent the gates of hell had been inadvertently opened and I was under attack. So I ended up having to call the studios and complain because I couldn't get any dates. Oh, all right, maybe there were some other reasons I couldn't get dates. But anyway, they did come out and say, yeah, we're sorry, we focused all the speakers that hit on your house. And then they moved them. And so anyway, it was still fun because when the weather would be just right, the noise would still hit right into my living room, which was kind of interesting when you would have guests because the first time it happened, they would freak out and it didn't help me screaming, hide, for God's sake, hide. But anyway, it has a special meaning to me, that yo-yo. So if you got one, I want to trade for it. And talking collectible yo-yos that are very hard to get, you may be aware that I wear many hats besides just being a yo-yo collector and historian. We host several charitable events at my home. One of the biggest events is a 1 mile swimming race. Sean, can you roll that, please? Called the Golden Mile. And this year we have a yo-yo associated with it. And what makes it really hard to get is you got to swim the Golden Mile to earn it. You can't buy it. It's a Duncan Eagle one. That's the logo there on it. That's just a mock-up of it. We did have a yo-yo in 2020. That, of course, was COVID year. We ended up giving that yo-yo out in the race in 2021. And then there is a yo-yo you can get without racing for it. That yo-yo, by the way, is an XT Butterfly. You can go and swim 1,500 kilometers in the lake, and you get that yo-yo there. And 1,500 kilometers is about 1,000 miles of lake swimming. So that is a very tough yo-yo to get to. And finally, in the series of kind of our award yo-yos that we have with the lake, this is the most difficult one to get because you have to win the Golden Mile. That's the champion yo-yo. Not only do you get the yo-yo, but a gold medal that has double the content of Olympic gold, and it's got a core of sterling silver, which is 16 ounces. So those are worth about $2,000 each. And if the person happens to break the course record, they take home $1,500 cash too. But it's really all about the yo-yo. And it's not too late to sign up for the Golden Mile 2022 if you want to get a race yo-yo. Okay, some of you may like perusing social media. You may have noticed this little gem trending. Can you show that photo there, Sean? Yeah. And we have a lot of stories here in Florida about the Florida man, but at least we don't have the Green Bay woman stories like this. If you haven't seen the story, to sum it up, a not so stable woman on parole decapitated her boyfriend while they were having sex and then proceeded to dismember him, but admitted she was too lazy to get rid of the body parts. And I wouldn't consider that a perfect crime. For those that are interested, you can get her out on a $2 million bail, but she has to live with you until the trial. So good luck with that. So you might be thinking, right now, how on earth is Lucky going to tie this freaky splatter story into something to do with yo-yos? So here we go. Sean is getting ready to do something. Can you show that? There we go. Sean is getting ready to do something to that mannequin here. And is that rolling?
It is.
Oh, okay. And this is not a copycat crime or a recreation of the previous romantic love story. We took no pleasure in removing the head of this mannequin, and I want to make sure that you understand it is a mannequin, so no calling 911 on us. You took pleasure, great. The decapitation was done in the Zomborium lab, which might cause some alarm, but to be clear, this was not one of our zombie films. And next month, we are going to reveal why we did this and how it is entirely related to the yo-yo world. So be sure to watch next month's episode to find out if Sean and Lucky have gone off the deep end or if there is method to their madness. Next month on Yo-Yo Talk. Okay, one last item before we get to the headliner tonight, which of course is the announcement of the 2021 inductees to the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. Stay tuned. It will be coming up in just a couple minutes, I promise. This is my latest acquisition. It is a very cool automation robot that is a moving art sculpture, of which we're not seeing right now. There we go. Sean's pulling it up now. And it's done by a fellow in England that's well known for creating these automations. I looked into finding out that he was making one with a yo-yo when I was inquiring about another one of his earlier automations, which was a dog playing a yo-yo, but sadly those were all completely sold out. There were only 3 of these robots made Taibo Mojo. These were all handmade and they're horrifically expensive. They'll set you back about $2,000 each, so not something you're probably going to find in a garage sale somewhere. Now here's the good news. It may be hearsay or fake news, but if you operate the automation, you will get good luck for one entire day. But there's a catch. If you don't choose the day, you don't get to choose the day. Matter of fact, mine happened the day after I got back from Vegas. I chose to sadly stay inside watching a Clint Eastwood marathon, which actually was very lucky to stumble on as I was channel surfing. So 24 hours earlier, it could have been Vegas. Okay, it's time to announce the 3 inductees for the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame for 2021. Just a reminder, after we make this announcement, we are going to have our special guest on the show, Andre Boulay, who we will have an in-depth interview with, so that's something to live for. A few words about the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame and the process. This was first started in 2003. 3 inductees each year were nominated, and this went on through 2008, when it went on a hiatus, unfortunately, for a number of years. Due to public demand, it restarted in 2020. Last year, the inductees were Dazzling Dave, John Gates, and Steve Brown. The process for getting into the National Hall of Fame goes like this. Nominations are taken from the general public. The 3 individuals that have the most nominations are automatically put on the finalist pool of 10. That doesn't guarantee them a spot in the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame, but it does bring more attention to those individuals. 7 more individuals are selected from the pool of nominees, and this year I believe we had maybe 27. These other 7 finalists are selected by the executive committee, which is basically made up of past Hall of Fame directors and living members of the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. This year, the 10 finalists were Tommy Smothers, Tommy Reyes, Valerie Oliver, Stuart Crump, Paul Escolar, Mark McBride, Jennifer Baybrook, Bog Maloney, Andre Boulay, and Dr. Popular. And I will say all of these folks are absolutely worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, and I suspect they all eventually will end up in the Hall of Fame, regardless of the outcome for tonight. So don't despair, we will have another 3 inductees for 2022, and I'm sure some of these finalists will be on that list. The 10 finalists are then voted on by the members of the Academy of Yo-Yo Arts. These are individuals that have been involved in the sport for a minimum of 5 years and have made contributions to the sport and hobby. I will say that over 80% of the people that voted have been involved with the yo-yoing for over 20 years. The people that are voting are in the know, and they are very knowledgeable, and they take their voting very seriously. Well, without blabbering on further, I am going to announce our first inductee for 2021 in the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. Let's show that video, Sean. Valerie Oliver. Valerie is one of the yo-yo community's most recognizable female yo-yo demonstrators. Involved with the sport now 6 decades, she began yo-yoing at the age of 5 under the tutelage of Yo-Yo Hall of Famer Bob Rule. She, along with her husband Dale Oliver,
now becomes the first married couple to both be members of the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. Their shared efforts have had an enduring impact on the sport of yo-yoing. Valerie has taught tens of thousands of children to yo-yo through the Spintastic Science of Spin program, and she is an inaugural member of the American Yo-Yo Association, where she served as an officer for many years. She has been in her younger years a state champion and has competed in multiple national and world yo-yo championships. She has won first place in the National Spin Top Sport Division and has received a silver medal in the National Spin Top Championships. Valerie was recipient of the Linda Singpale Award for Excellence in Yo-Yoing, and she also received the Donald F. Duncan Family Award for Industry Excellence. Her lifelong passion for yo-yoing has made her one of the greatest female role models in the sport, inspiring untold numbers of girls to pick up the yo-yo and start to throw. Valerie Oliver, 2021 National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame inductee.
Okay, congratulations to Valerie Oliver, only the second woman to be inducted into the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. As mentioned in the video, one half of the only married couple that has been inducted, her husband being the legendary Dale Oliver. And I think for years that Valerie may have been a bit in the shadow of Dale, but not anymore. So congratulations to Valerie Oliver, well deserved. Your dedication to the sport and hobby of yo-yoing is greatly appreciated. And what better way for the yo-yo community to show their appreciation than placing you in the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame? I know we've got a couple of Hall of Famers watching right now. Bob Rule, which was a mentor to Valerie, and John Gates, I know, is watching. And if anybody out there does have questions, or please put your congratulations in the comment section for these folks as we say the names. All right, our second inductee is, Sean, let's show that video.
Dr. Popular. Doc Pop, aka Brian Roberts, is a professional yo-yo player and demonstrator. He is known for his creative yo-yo styles and being an artist, musician, and writer. And yes, we can thank Doc Pop for the yo-yo emoji. He is regarded as one of the most innovative players in the modern yo-yo scene, and he is placed in the finals in both World Championships and National Championships. His skill in trick development resulted in being awarded the National Yo-Yo Contest Trick Innovator of the Year in 2001. Doc Pop is probably best known for his video podcast called Popcast. The blog critiques new yo-yos, discusses trick innovations and techniques, along with numerous how-to lessons. He also frequently interviews top players as well as industry leaders. Dr. Popular has maintained an online store for years which sells his creative brand of yo-yos, games. Dr. Popular, 2021 National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame inductee.
Congratulations to Dr. Popular. I know Doc Pop likes to say he's not a doctor, nor is he popular, but based on the voting, I would comment that at least the second part of that statement is not true, as he was very popular amongst the Academy of Yo-Yo Art members voting. So I remember back in the day, probably 20 years ago now, when I first met Doc Pop, thinking, wow, that's one off-the-wall, really nerdy kid. But he is going to end up being a billionaire or having a major impact on the yo-yo world. I think he may be still working on becoming a billionaire, but we will thank him for all of his contributions to the world of yo-yoing. Well deserved, Doc Pop. And we come to our last inductee for the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame, class of 2021. Roll that film, Sean.
Andre Boulay. Andre has been a yo-yo professional for over 2 decades. He was the team captain for Yo-Yo Jam, where he had several signature yo-yos which he designed, Dark Magic, the Legacy Series, and Trinity. He has also been a finalist in the National Yo-Yo Championships, as well as a finalist in the World
Can you hear me now?
Championships.
We're gonna have you on
Years
in
both the nationals
just
and
1
worlds,
second here after we run
and
your
he
thing.
was
Congratulations,
the
by the way.
recipient of the Sitten Sportsmanship
also been-
Award. He also received the Atlas Award at the World Championships and is a national yo-yo master. He is probably best known as the man behind yo-yoexpert.com, an internet yo-yo megastore. The website has posted scores of learn-to-play videos which have introduced thousands to the sport of yo-yoing. Andre Boulay.
All right. Well, it just so happens we have Andre in our green room, and I want to let everybody know that Andre had no idea he was one of the 3 inductees. That's how much of a jerk I am. Nobody knew the results except for Sean and myself until we went live on the show. So Andre has been sitting in that room thinking, surely Lucky wouldn't have let me on as a guest if I wasn't one of the inductees. How uncomfortable that would be. But it is Lucky, and he does like Schadenfreude. So, you know, he had to worry a little bit. So anyway, welcome, Andre, to Yo-Yo Talk. And let me be the first to congratulate you about becoming a member of the National Yo-Yoing Hall of Fame. All the inductees will be getting a nice plaque here in a few weeks that looks something like this. Can you show them the plaque there? Sean, that's the Pedro Flores plaque. He's going to bring that up. And we would love to have all the inductees. Please send me the photo that you would like on the plaque so we can get started making them.
You can't see the plaque, just see it.
Okay, well, that's fine. So anyway, just a reminder, everybody, it is a live show. And if you've got questions for Andre, please put them in the comment section. I'm sure he would love to answer any questions you have. And so anyway, Andre, how did it all get started? Tell us about your beginnings with the yo-yo. How did you get your introduction?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, first of all. And yeah, that was a surprise. I'm honored. I'll give a shout out to just I was on the board of directors with the AYYA back when too, and I remember like recognizing people like this and what a big deal it was. So I'm honored. Thank you. Yeah, I got my start back just as the yo-yo boom was kind of dying and it wasn't the cool thing to do anymore. So around 2000, 2001, I picked up a yo-yo at the local toy store that we had, thanks to my brother, who my mom brought to the store to try out yo-yos. I was the cool brother in the back that thought I was like too cool for it, watching all the other kids try it. But thankfully there was like the most enthusiastic teacher there that literally forced the yo-yo in my hand and said, no, you got to try this. And I did, and it's kind of history. I just got hooked. Stole my brother's yo-yo when we got home and practiced on his because mine was broken to begin with.
Did your brother ever continue on with the yo-yo? I never did.
Yeah, actually he did. He got pretty good, you know. He started going more into like doing like looping tricks for a while. The kind of, you know, I think it's hard when you have a sibling, you always kind of want to differentiate yourself. And I got so good so fast at the string tricks.
Now, does he still throw some, or is he still involved in? A
little bit. He actually, so when I started Yo-Yo Expert, he was my first employee actually.
Oh, okay.
So he was just graduating from high school. And so he worked for me up until about 3 years ago. He went back to school for CNC machining and stuff. So he still dabbles in it. Whenever he comes over, he always picks up the yo-yos I have lying around the house. No question there. So.
Well, everybody that comes on the show, I always ask them what their favorite throw is. So what would yours be?
Yeah, I was gonna say my most favorite yo-yo is probably, you know, I'll toot my own horn here, is you know, the Dark Magic.
Sure.
It really I designed it thanks to Yo-Yo Jam back in the day, and it kind of helped keep me in yo-yo and keep me kind of wanting to drive to be excited about yo-yo. And I've taught so many people how to yo-yo, both like with that yo-yo and both in person and online, that it kind of is just part of who I am at this point. So that's probably my personal favorite.
Well, that's fine. We love self-promotion here on this show. So, no, you know,
Not that you can buy one anymore.
The dark magic. Well, Yo-Yo Jam had a lot of signature yo-yos. How involved were you guys in the actual design? On a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, I think at the time too, that was one of the most amazing things about Yo-Yo Jam is the players could be as involved as they wanted to be. I think, maybe it wasn't always the best idea, to be honest, because we would draw these sketches and you get so precise and you want it to be this exact weight and this exact shape. And sometimes, half the time the players would design yo-yos that you just wouldn't work, Yeah. And so, yeah, I was involved all the way. I completely drew exact specifications I wanted. I actually did it like in Photoshop and drew it all out. And so, to a T, they had it. I think we had 2 prototypes total because I did have them switch a couple things. But yeah, they were pretty amazing with that. They really wanted to create a yo-yo that the yo-yo competitor would actually want. And that's sometimes fantastic. It worked out.
So is that, are those prototypes in your collection? I know you have a few in your collection.
Yep. Yeah. There's
nice.
actually... I have 2 prototypes in my collection. The Dark Magic's a little bit lighter.
If you look at your collection of yo-yos, what would you say your favorite yo-yo is in your collection?
Oh man, it's funny. I come back actually a lot to this was a gift to me. The Chief, actually anodized by Jason Wan.
Hold it real still there, right in front of the camera, so everybody can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. He called it Skittles for the anodized way or whatever. But he was experimenting, with doing some pretty impressive anodizing at the time. No one had really done this quite yet. So it was a rainbow anodized, and then
I can see that through the pixelization.
Yeah, it's a beautiful yo-yo, and the Chief from Caribou Lodge, I think, is one of my all-time favorite yo-yos as well. So,
you've demonstrated all over, probably been, to a lot of other countries, and certainly all over the United States. So, if you had to pick maybe the strangest or the freakiest or perhaps just memorable moment involving yo-yos, what would you say that was?
Oh man, yeah, we've had a couple. I was lucky to be able to tour the country with Yo-Yo Jam a couple times actually, and it was always kind of a funny tour, as I feel like talking to all the other yo-yo demonstrators. Yo-yo tours are usually like they kind of jump in on something else happening, and the tour that we always went on was called the Great Race, and so we traveled the country following cars, like old cars, and so we'd show up in kind of these podunk towns where there's not much of anything else going on there, and people came out the cars and then there'd be like yo-yos flinging around and stuff. And so we'd have to like jump into this crowd of people, and it's kind of funny because a lot of times they're like trying to walk around us because all they want to see is the car. But it was a true test of trying to capture an audience that wasn't there for you, but we had a lot of success over time. As awkward as it was, sometimes it kind of forced me to really work on engaging with people and connecting with people, and we pulled it off. That, and we did an amazing performance one time at the Smithsonian.
So
that was pretty cool.
You're probably most famous in the yo-yo community for all the hundreds, maybe even 1,000 yo-yo videos. How did all that come about?
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was the right place and the right time on so many angles of it. It was back in 2004, 2005. I was contacted by a company that was hired by a website called Expert Village. A lot of people remember that little thing popping up, Expert Village. And they were just looking for people to teach anything. And I was, at that point in my life, I was teaching yo-yo 3 days a week, if not more, because sometimes we had club meetings on top of 3 classes at the local toy store that I was teaching at. And so it was just like automatic. I would spit out, how to teach every single trick. We filmed 100 videos the first day I met with them, and it was all one-take videos. And I remember after doing it too, it was just like, oh my God, those are all one take. And I didn't really say that quite right, but they were just like, oh, it's good, we're cutting it. And I was like, no one's going to ever learn from any of these videos. And it was before YouTube, so they threw them up. I didn't really think of anybody learning with videos online that well. But, you know, lo and behold, over the course of those 2 or 3 years to follow, I would just get countless emails from people telling me like, oh, I'm working on this trick, you know, what's the next step? Or I saw all your tutorials, I'm on this trick, and like, what's the best yo-yo to buy? And it just kind of, you know, all kind of blew up around me, and I saw it was working, and we filmed more videos, and it kind of just seemed me to want to teach as much as it. So.
Well, and you made millions of dollars from that, right?
I mean, I am thankful to be in a position where, you know, I was able to start Yo-Yo Expert in 2008. And while yo-yoing isn't necessarily, you know, makes you millions out of the gate or anything like that. I've been able to build, you know, both a successful business, but one that allows me to take money and put it back into the yo-yo community. It was always like one of my goals when I started Yo-Yo Expert 2 was I really wanted to just build community and find more ways to engage with people and get them excited about yo-yo. Like one of my favorite things we've done is we did this whole series of trading cards to try and feature professional yo-yo players. Not sure if you've got any of those in your collection. They're pretty cool. I could send you a couple packs because they're fun. But we, you know, I think
you just glitched out like there on me, I'm afraid.
It's had on your life and your career. Okay.
So anyway,
can you still hear me now?
Tell us about the A to Z Science Learning Store.
Yeah, so A to Z Science Learning Toys. It's a 35-year-old store. That's where I got my start in yo-yoing. I happened upon it in the early 2000s. They started doing yo-yo classes just as the boom was kicking off, and they kept it going, and it kind of became like my second home because I always want to go and hang out and learn tricks there. Eventually, when I could get a job, I got my license. I was like, the coolest place to get a job would be at the toy store teaching people how to yo-yo. And thankfully, they took a chance and hired me because I was pretty awkward at that point in my life, as I think a lot of us are at that age. It's like 16. And yeah, I mean, I went to college, started Yo-Yo Expert, and the previous owners were again hitting retirement age and looking for somebody that might be willing to take it over. And my wife had a lot of history in that store, and so now we're running a toy store and teaching yo-yos in person all the time.
That's great, man.
It's amazing.
The circle of life. So anyway, well, hey, for the lack of a better title, you're the acting head of the advisory board for the National Yo-Yo League. So we're all kind of wondering now, kind of almost post-COVID, what's in store for us as competition-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really excited because so many people are so very much looking forward to getting back to yo-yo contests. And for me, I mean, a big part of what gives yo-yoing so much depth is the community and engaging and seeing people in person. And so we've missed that so much. And we had intended ideally to start regionals this year. And as things were still kind of chaotic with COVID, we kind of pulled back and said, you know what, we're going to do the best we can to run the most amazing national yo-yo contest. So it's the last weekend in June in Mesa, Arizona. We have an amazing venue. It's like a huge ballroom. And, you know, we're kind of trying to bring it back a little bit to that vibe that Orlando Worlds used to capture, which was like get everybody into the same hotel in the same, room. They can stay up all night and they can just yo-yo. And, you know, all the vendors, everybody all in one big room and just have a big yo-yo party. And so that's the goal with nationals.
Right.
And then we're going to do everything we can to kind of pick up and keep regionals going into the 2023 season, which will follow that nationals this summer. So.
Hey, Sean, do we have any questions for Andre from the viewers before we wrap things up with our?
We don't have any questions.
Oh, come on, guys!
There's a trash can there. Sorry. We do have some statements. Sean Perez has demanded, and when I say demanded, he has put his iron fist down and has wanted more dark magics to be made.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
No.
Now that is
More
not
dark magics.
that is not a light gauntlet to throw down in any sense. And we have a lot of congratulations, of course, coming from the yo-yo community across the board, congratulating you upon your win.
All right.
Thank you,
Well, again, thanks for joining us, Andre, and congratulations on being one of the newest inductees into the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. You are certainly worthy. And think about those dark magics. About that. All right, so let's jump into our pop quiz. A reminder, there is no prize package this week other than the Trivia Champion shirt, which should be enough, but you cannot win a Trivia Champion shirt if you have won before. But you can answer and get bragging rights. Just a reminder, you must put your answers in the comments section. The first person that answers correctly will be our Simcoe. We will check the time code at the end of the show, and we will see who the trivia champion actually is. Sean, let's go on and roll that trivia contest now.
Doc Lucky's Pop Quiz. One shot, one champion. First to answer both questions in the Facebook comments wins. Get ready.
Yeah, put me live again. So anyway, you got to be specific about these names. If there might be names that are very similar, you have to differentiate between the two. You should know what that is. So, like for instance, a hint would be if it was a junior or senior, you would need to specify which. And again, this is more for the honor of winning, unless we actually have somebody that's never won a trivia contest before, and then you will get that Trivia Champion t-shirt. You never know. This should be pretty quick. You can just actually go to the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame.com and look.
Don't tell them that.
Oh, well, yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to.
Because the Nicknators, you know how fast he types?
Well, the Nicknators probably already got the answer and, is just holding back because he knows he's not going to get anything by answering. So it could be anybody else.
I see it.
You see it?
See it.
Okay. Who do we have that came up with those answers?
I'll give you one guess on who that was.
Was it the Nicknator again?
Of course.
Oh, the Nicknator. Okay, I'm going to do some stuff. If somebody else will answer that question that has never won before, we have a trivia contest champion for you. Because the Nicknator's, he's already won. It's the t-shirt. It's the t-shirt. See if, and actually, I'll give you a hint. It's pretty easy to get the answers to since the Nicknator's already got them.
So Tim Simcoe doesn't count, right?
Wait a minute. He's already won a t-shirt.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Let's get a new person here. Somebody hasn't won a trivia champion shirt. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds. That's it. Otherwise, nobody gets squat this
people know how
month.
to copy paste these days?
Come on. You can type in that fast. You got about 15 seconds left here, folks. Somebody come up with the answer. Are we still not getting an answer there, Sean? I can't believe that.
I can't either. Maybe in the time codes we'll see it a little bit later, and I'll have to reach out to that.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
Don't some Indian scammer, please. I've had that before.
All right. Well, I'm counting it down. 10, 9, 8.
Oh, I see it. Wait, has Jay Madigan won a T-shirt yet? I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
You would think he would have by now.
Well, we'll check and see if he has never won a T-shirt. We have a Trivia Champion T-shirt going to Jay Madigan. Congratulations for finishing about 18th. But so anyway, we'll still count it because it was a pretty weak quiz this week. All right. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for participating and voting for the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. We had a ton of votes and many bribes, which were extremely appreciated. And it's great to see how many people were involved in the process and how serious everybody took the voting process. This only honors the inductees even more to know how passionate folks are about who they want to honor in the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. Just a reminder to all those that were finalists, That is an honor in itself, and I'm sure the majority of you folks are going to end up in the Hall of Fame someday in the future. Next month, we will be revealing why Sean was decapitating that mannequin. Certainly worth waiting to watch for that little reveal. Hopefully, we will not be too lazy and have another prize package ready to go for the trivia contest. Folks, please share this video with others that have interest in yo-yoing and its history, because this is a historic day for inductees. We post all the episodes of Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk on our YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe and let others know about the show. I will be seeing everybody again on April the 7th. That's live at Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, always remember, you can never have too many yo-yos. This is Doc Lucky signing off until April.